Don't you know? Don't you know?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Raquel.
I'm Jake.
And this is Don't You Know? So, we are going to do a nice quick episode because I feel like all of our other episodes have been extremely long.
So we've decided to make our topic about something that doesn't really matter too much. Teenagers.
Aw.
Just get it right out of the way.
Let's do a quick update though. And when I say quick, I think it will be pretty quick because I don't really have much to say. We don't have much going on podcast-wise. We just uploaded Don't You Draw. Yeah, that's it for podcast-wise. For me, I got a new shirt. It's awesome.
Sweet.
It's the two rabbits, one slapping the other and saying baka. One's carrying a roll of toilet paper, and the other one, it has a face mask and hand sanitizer on.
And shameless self-plug, is that the shirt that you wore during the Don't You Draw that we just recorded and is probably uploaded to YouTube now?
Yeah,
Damn.
it is. Let's see.
You guys can watch that.
I'm trying to think. I started a new anime. Well, I kind of finished it because the rest is all in sub. So I finished what was in dub. And it's a basketball one. It is super, super funny. And it is called something I can't pronounce. Because it's like all in Japanese. And I will talk about it after Jacob gives his update.
Alright, my updates. I've actually been pretty busy. Did I talk about the fixing my washing machine's drain backup? Do you remember me talking about that?
Yes, because I asked you all about it, because I was like, wait, how did you know it was your wall and not your washing machine that was broken? You were like, well, that's because the water was not draining.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Okay, so that's old news. I hopped back on my bicycle, which is pretty fun, and that's actually why I'm, like, so hyped up right now. I haven't even been going that far. I've been going, like... So, I only went, like, 15 miles. Not 15 miles, 15 minutes. Big difference there. Just to kind of warm back up and kind of get back in the hang of things. It was, like, the first time... 2 times I went, it was just to, like, test the bike out and myself. And it was good in the area. I found a little route that kind of goes, it's like through the neighborhood, starts this little downhill, and then you pick up some speed. That's pretty fun. I was riding alongside a bird the other day. That was pretty cool. And then I like go down and I cross a couple streets, and then I got this one stretch. It's like a 4-lane highway, but there's never anybody on it that time. So I've got like my own lane to myself. And I'll ride down that, and it's like about 3 miles. So I can either add to that, or I can just loop it a couple of times to try and get more than a few miles in, but it's fun, and it's like still brutally hot out, and it's not, I'm not letting it stop me. My legs are sore.
I'm glad that Jacob's getting active while I'm being a bum and eating even more and just getting fat.
I've been eating so much and getting fat too, which is why I'm doing it. So
yeah, I need to get into it.
It's fun. It's honestly fun.
See.
Like I'm back. I'm at the point where I come back and I'm just like, I can feel this like heightened like sense of things. It's really bizarre. But it feels really good. It's very nice. Anything
new media-wise?
Oh, we're watching Space Force. We binge-watched that a little bit, and I think we're almost done with the first season. I can't imagine I think there's only one season out. But it's pretty funny. It's obviously a big satire. It's pretty political, but it's very funny. Honestly, it is really good. I like the first episode's hilarious. I recommend watching it, at least the first episode, and see what you think. 'Cause it's really hot right now. It's like #1 watched on Netflix right now. Yeah, it's very funny. It is a lot of like, you can like see the agenda. I don't want to like say agenda and stuff because I agree with a lot of it, but I do get annoyed when it's like so like, oh, then everyone applauded, and it's like, okay, whatever. Or they're rounding all the bases, so I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's funny. I recommend it. Yeah, really, that's all I got. I haven't been doing too much. Otherwise, I'm thinking I'll interject with something else. You wanted to talk about...
So, my anime that I've watched is called, I'm gonna completely butcher it, Orio... Oh, I don't even know how... No Sora. And it's also known as Sora's Wings. It's a basketball anime. It is... At first, it was alright. There wasn't, like, anything that special about it. And then come, like, mid-season, everyone kind of develops into their characters, basically. And, like, it is hilarious. Like, before, it's kind of, like, almost like just a bunch of gang members kind of thing. And so they don't really have any personalities other than, you know, being a tough guy. And they come like mid-season. Now they actually have like some depth to them, and it's just hilarious and it's so funny. And I don't know if there's one scene I really kind of want to talk to, but it might kind of ruin it. So let's just do spoiler alert. Psh, if you ever want to watch it.
If you're gonna watch it long, just skip like a minute or two.
So it's like episode like 10-ish. It's okay, so it's about basketball. So the boys' basketball team is kind of like, was just a bunch of gang members. Mm-hmm. And now they're actually kind of forming a team. And then you have the girls' basketball team, which is actually serious. And so they get this new girl who decides to be their manager, and she kind of looks at them and goes, yeah, you guys are all great, but you're never going to win. And they're all like, what? And she's like, yeah, I could tell these things. And the like captain on the girls' team is all like, if that's what she says, then it's true. Like, she's never wrong.
She's the oracle. She's the prophet of b-ball.
She like knew her in middle school, and so she knew how good she was. And they're like, nah, blah 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 blah. And she was like, I'm willing to bet that you guys can't beat the girls' team. And like the guys like team towers over the girls, and they're like, I don't think so. And he's like, go ahead, play each other. And they're like, no, we don't want to play unless you make it interesting.
Uh-oh.
She's like, okay, the girls will strip naked if you guys win.
Wow.
Like,
they straight went there.
They were like, and so they ended up playing, and the girls are all like, oh my god. And the guys are like,
What if the guys lose?
If the guys lose, it wasn't actually anything. Oh. Like, I don't remember the guys ever getting anything. It was just the girls thing to get the guys to play.
Wow.
And basically they did lose. And, yeah. And so basically a manager was like, boom, in your faces. Anyways, okay, spoiler done. And that is it. That's all I have for myself.
Yeah, I think that's all I have too. I was racking my brain.
Well, that's cool, because we have to do a quick episode anyways. So let's go ahead and get right into our topic, which is teenagers.
Alright. I haven't been a teenager in 8 years.
Yeah, I haven't been a teenager in... No, you haven't been a teenager in 7 years. Oh no, 8 years, yeah. I haven't been a teenager in 9 years. I was like, I'm 8 years, that means you're less.
I'm clearly an expert. I don't live with teenagers. My brother's a teenager. He's a pretty cool dude. And I don't have any teenagers, so...
My baby brother is a teenager. He'll be turning 18 in a couple of days. If not, already has turned 18 because he turns 18 on the 11th.
Nice.
Not quite sure when this one's coming out.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, I think it's coming out before his birthday. So, happy birthday, Frankie.
Happy birthday. And a shout out to Luke. He just graduated, and I saw his diploma picture. It's pretty cool. We're all very proud. He got all A's and B's too for his final year.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, my biggest one, which kind of like led to me doing this as a topic, which is, don't you know, before talking to a teenager, you have to check their ears to make sure they don't have headphones in. My little brother always has headphones in, and I've seen it where others will talk to him. He does not hear them, and I'm like, he's got headphones in.
That's funny.
Frankie, and you tap, like, they're talking to you. For me, I always expect him to have headphones in, so I always, like, look at him and make sure he doesn't have them in before I'm like...
You carry, like, little pebbles or stones in your pockets. You get pink. How often do you do that? Where you just toss something at them?
Not very often, actually, ever, I don't think.
Nice.
I used to toss stuff at Nick all the time, but that was because he was snoring and we used to share a room.
Nice. Alright, don't you know, if you're gonna talk with teenagers, you gotta know some of the lingo. I'm not gonna dab. Alright, every once in a while, when I'm feeling particularly obnoxious, I'll throw in, but it's usually for the scorn of my girlfriend.
I think dabbing is done with. Jacob.
Yeah, it's probably done. It's now like, well, it depends. I think it's
dabbing
still
was like
popular
last
in
year.
some sort. Well, yeah.
Or the year before.
What is it now? Floss is kind of old too.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's the shoot.
I'm out. Yeah, I've never even seen that.
It's on Fortnite.
Whoop-de-doo.
It's either the shoot or
That's not teenagers. That's like 12-year-olds and below. That's a little kid's game.
Don't say that to one of my brothers.
Oh no.
Words.
Oh no.
So, like I said, this is gonna be a short one. I only have really 2 other things. I had an article, and I opened up the article, and I was like, why in the world do I have this article? It's pointless. And so I don't have an article.
Nice. What about, okay, let's get some like philosophical discussions. If you could meet your teenage, okay, so like there's like two like distinct groups, like, you know, like 13 to 15 and 14 to 18 are very different. You know what I mean? Wait, no,
That was my discussion. Like, one of my discussion was the wide range.
like
Because
high
it's
school and middle school, totally different
Yeah.
animals.
Because you have, like, 13 to, like, I don't know if you go as far as 15-ish. It's probably, like, more like 3 kind of ranges. You have, like, 13 and 14. Then you have, like, 15, 16, 17, and then you have 18 and 19. You can't
18 and
forget
19 are a different animal too. Because 19, you're an adult. 18, you're an adult. So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was living out of state when I was 19. And a lot of people are doing, like, it's a very different ballgame then. You're paying taxes, you know. You're probably
You're
working.
old enough to vote. You're, like...
Yeah. Or you're
going
in
to
college, which is a
jail
whole
or
different
just-
part of your life, you know.
Yeah.
Or starting to work full time.
Yeah, and so I think some of the things was when you compare kind of yourself, which is the second topic, which was what is like kind of teenagers now versus us when we were a teenager. A lot of times people are like, they look at the teenagers now and they're like, I did not look like that when I was a teenager, and they show a picture when they're a teenager, but they're showing a picture of when they were like 13 or 14. But yet they're comparing it to like 16-year-olds, and that is a big difference. Like, I don't know what it is. I think it's because puberty is right in that bracket, and that's what makes such a huge gap difference.
Yeah, and it's different
Even
for
though it's only a
everybody, too.
couple years. Because, I mean, think about
So
it.
you might be getting anecdotal. Joe Schmo might have not looked like that, but on average, a lot of people look like, I don't know. Gotta look at the macro statistics.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, we're a 3-year difference from like 24 or 25. And I don't think we are much different from them. But you look at 18 versus 15, or even 16 versus 13, that's a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. What about, I don't even like to acknowledge that I was ever middle schooler, so let's not even talk about them. And they're not listening to podcasts anyway. Let's talk about high school. That's what I think of when you think of teenagers, you know?
Yeah, that's fine. We just have to keep in mind that we did do a Don't You Know episode on high school.
Alright, fair enough. I was just gonna ask, if you could talk to yourself in, like, the middle of high school, maybe, like, just starting junior year, and you're like, hey, you gotta think ahead what you're gonna do, and you know where you are right now, sitting in that chair, or on the floor, it looks like,
On the floor.
what would you say to yourself?
Do engineering. Major in engineering.
Oh, man, we got it raw right there for you, everyone listening.
Do engineering.
Well,
Yeah.
don't think about that too deep. And, you know, you still got a tool set. And you can, I mean, I guess you're using it right now as we speak for doing some
That's true.
media
I
production.
wouldn't be able to do this stuff.
Yeah.
I still would have met you, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
Because
yeah, probably.
we met in an elective course.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
true.
would have taken Rope Challenge. My other friends from college, I still would have met them because I met them through my roommate, I think. So, yeah. I still would have be friends with the people I'm friends with. Wouldn't have been too much of a difference in college.
Who knows? So I guess your word of advice is choose your major, Cosley. I would probably honestly have this is a very cliche thing. I would have tried a little harder in college. But I went through
You're
it.
doing pretty well, though.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, all things considered. It made things work. But yeah, I don't know.
You own
I
a
was wondering if I
home?
had yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You have a great girlfriend.
Yeah. All right. Touche. I don't know. I always feel like I would go back for like a harder science, like a physics degree or something, if I was ever going to go back for something. Because I feel like the challenge of that is a lot more intense. Like, you do a lot more math on that. Now, what I do is challenging in its own way too, and I really enjoy using the English language. I like speaking succinctly to. Anyway, he says as he rambles on.
You sure you wouldn't want to take more English classes?
No, yeah, I wouldn't say I have regrets, but you could always stand to work harder. That's what I would say, is don't goof around so much. However, I did have a lot of fun, and I got a lot of memories and stuff that I'm really happy that I had. Things aren't just about work.
Pretty much all of my memories from college are not actually us schooling itself, but everything that we've done outside of it. So sometimes I feel like the biggest thing with college is just connections, period, because they can lead you to better job opportunities anyways.
I heard, I did a few articles for the Mercer newspaper, The Cluster, where I had to interview different alumni. And a lot of times, one of the questions I would ask is, what's one of the biggest things you learned from college, from Mercer? and they said very common was it taught me how to learn, which is ironic answer for a lot of people to give you, because it's kind of like okay, are you really learning stuff, or are you reciting this from somewhere, from some pamphlet? No, but I'm joking. They seem very genuine. Ultimately, you have to learn problem solving, and you have to learn how to seek knowledge, and that's what's really important. And I guess I don't know if that's what I'd tell myself. I think
that would be a little bit too much for myself. If I told myself that as a younger in high school, as a teenager, I probably would have been like, because don't you know teenagers are know-it-alls? So you told me that, I'd be like, I already know how to learn.
That's kind of what I feel too. It's like, duh, are you saying learning is good? That's so obviously learning is good. That's why we're a society. But no, so I knew what they meant,
I'm already in these amount of different clubs, how much more do you want me to go searching for different things to learn?
Yeah. Well, it's like, first thing you should do, if you're the type of person, first thing you should do is Google it. And that's a weird thing to say instead of college, is just Google it. But realistically, you should be able to pursue knowledge. I was going to say, I also heard that a lot of people are like, oh, why do I need to take this algebra? I'm not going to use algebra at my day-to-day job. But no, what you're doing, though, is you're building the connections in your brain at a young age so that you can learn problem solving later on. And so your brain knows how to, and math is just hard, and there's a lot of rules and stuff, and it's like realistic, and you can apply it to physics and stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think the important thing with it is you're right, it does like give you that problem solving, but it kind of that you do use it, you just don't use it in the way that we learned it.
Yeah.
You use it actually in applied kind of thing, like where, this is what you have these many, how many do you need to get this, but also you have to do this, and like that's all algebra, having to do all of that together.
Yeah.
To figure out how much you need or whatever. And for us, like, we don't see it as algebra, but it is, and so we're able to process it. But they can't just give us tons and tons of, word problems. Because you do have some people who do go on to learn even more advanced math. And they can't learn those advanced math with problem-solving math. So this is the way to kind of do both, where you give the people their problem solving that they need, but at the same time don't hinder the people who are going to continue onwards and do more advanced math.
Yeah, you gotta have the fundamentals, but eventually you don't want to be reinventing the wheel every time you need to run an equation. I will say, if you are working in an engineering field, you will come across math, and it will be a lot more applicable to your real life. One time I was looking for, now it's been a while since I've done calculus. I don't do calculus on a day-to-day. So I was rusty on something, and I knew that there was a way you could take the integral to get the area of something that I needed to do. And I couldn't remember how to do it, and if you don't know the vocabulary, math, is hard to search for. It's hard to Google. Anyway, I was told to ask this group of 3 engineers that work for us. They're mechanical engineers. They do fantastic, brilliant work with a lot of the stuff that they do is like not plastics, but like plastic deformation, and like they'll run things to test stress on metal, and a lot of engineering firms do that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. I went up to them and I said, "Hey, I have a math problem I need help with. Do you guys do like, are you familiar with calculus?" And I got laughed at. It's like, yes, we're mechanical engineers. We do calculus every day. I was like, yeah, of course you guys do. Just let me show you what I need. So don't ask engineers if they know how to do math, because yes, they do know how to do math. It's funny. But that's not, they weren't teenage engineers, so let's back it up a little bit.
So, don't you know that teenagers are very emotional and they don't even realize it?
Yeah, can be, for sure. So you got a lot going on.
And you probably realize this with your younger sibling. Frankie, sometimes when he gets over emotional sometimes. And, he also, sometimes when he's explaining why he's, something is, or explaining why he's feeling a certain way, I look at it and I go, you know what? I went through that when I was a teenager. But when I was going through that as a teenager, I didn't think I was being over emotional. And now that I'm older, I'm kind of like, calm down, you're overreacting. But you can't say that, because it's like, 1, it makes them even more emotional. And 2, it's like, well, you went through it as a teenager too, and it didn't seem like you're over emotional then. So he doesn't feel it's over emotional now. So you can't respond in saying, oh, you're overreacting.
Yeah. Because, for a lot of people, it's really hard to think of the future sometimes. And you know how they say that when a toddler falls and scrapes their knee and they freak out, it's because it's the worst pain they've ever had. It's kind of like that. If you're a teenager and you're in it could be relationships, it could be schooling, grades or whatever it is. if you're thinking like, oh man, this is gonna like impact me, it's gonna affect my social life, it could be kind of the worst, most stressful thing in your life. And it might, and you on the other side, you might be like, yeah, I gotta pay bills, I got car insurance coming or whatever. But to them, it's like, oh no, like I'm gonna fail this class and I'm not gonna get to play basketball, and that is my livelihood, and that really matters to me, or whatever it may be. I have no idea what it is with Frankie. That's just something I'm. Yeah, it's a big deal. But yeah,
it's just so interesting, like, because I hear some of the stuff that he's feeling or going through, and I'm just like, I kind of went through it too. And I know I did react kind of the same way as you are. But now looking back at it, it's like I was kind of like over dramatic about it, but yet you don't feel like it. At that moment, you don't feel like you're being so dramatic. So now looking back at it,
everybody
you're
looks
like,
back and like face palms and goes, "Oh, why was I like that?" Or "Why did I do that?" Or whatever it may be.
Okay, I have a question. So, I don't know. I think I've brought this up before.
On the topic of embarrassing things you regret, that reminds me. Where are we going?
Well, it reminds me, okay, not so much for me. I didn't go through this phase, but I feel like I know a lot of people who did, and even some of them, like I've seen on TikTok when they're like, oh no, the emo phase. And I can't remember if we've talked about this or not, because I feel like we have, but I don't feel like I see very many, like, emo kids now in teenager years. Like, for us, it almost feels like it was a phase just specifically for our generation.
Yeah. I would like to disclaim, I was never emo. I've always picked a punk rock metal kind of style. But,
Did you have the swoosh hair?
Not like the emo boys. It was more just from laziness, and I just wanted to grow it out, but I didn't want to style it, so I had to swoosh it, But it wasn't like staring through one eye. I didn't have it styled to be swoosh. It was just lack of maintenance. It wasn't like the emo swoosh. No, it's not even the same thing. I only ever teased a mohawk, but that was, again, more punk than scene, so I've never had...
Yeah, green mohawk is not emo.
No, not really. Anyway, I don't think emo's really still around. I think that was really like an early 2000s kind of thing that kind of died out. Like, it got made fun of and bullied so hard that anyone who wore it just... And, like, honestly, like, it doesn't look good on, like, older dudes anyway, or older girls even.
No.
So, like, it's like, if you wear it, it's like, what are you wearing, So it kind of just died out.
But it's not even something that, like, even the now generation does it. Even the now teenagers do it.
Because our teenagers, we didn't wear 80s retro. You never wore,
That's true.
mousse in your hair, Like, no way.
So does that mean when we have, like 2000s dances, it's going to be emo dances?
That would be hilarious. Now, there is hardcore dancing, and you still see a lot of black and stuff, and in the metal scene and stuff, but it's not like, and maybe I'm just out of the emo. I'm sure if you go to a Chiodos concert, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of eyeliner and stuff. And it's probably not, and it might honestly be super cool. It all depends on how you wear it and where it's appropriate or whatever. And I mean, fashion is a playground, and I'm here to have fun.
I feel like emo and maybe to an extent goth have kind of died out, and now all that's really left in that kind of little genre is rocker, kind of. And even then, it's not like super, super rocker. It's just kind of like a little bit like rocker, like maybe like a piercing or like maybe ripped jeans.
It depends on where you're at. I mean...
Have you seen tough. Teenagers that are rocker? Because I've not.
Not teenagers, to be fair. Okay, I forgot we're talking about teenagers. Yeah, no.
To me, they all look the same, honestly. Like us, yeah, I feel like we had cliques.
Right.
And maybe it's because we're not in that generation right now. And I really did want to have Frankie as a guest, but he's kind of somewhere else, so I didn't.
That's okay.
But
next time. Another time.
Because he would know more than us. But
yeah, for sure.
Because, like I said, I'm not sure if it's just because we're older and so they just kind of all blend together versus when we are that age and that's when we see the difference. Because we know where we belong in all the other cliques. And now that we're older, it's kind of like we're not part of that, so we don't have to fit into a certain clique.
I have suddenly realized I'm getting old. I've just Googled teenage style, which is a weird thing to have in my search history. It all looks like, imagine the Disney Channel. It's all that. That's what I'm seeing here. Ugh, I don't like it.
I see all my brother's friends, and they're all wearing like kind of like t-shirts and basketball shorts and jeans and stuff like that. And that's all my brother wears.
But that's like casual
I don't know about your brother.
Stuff. If you're going for like styled, dressed up, I don't know. My brother's pretty trendy. He's always been the most trendy, and he kind of does the more punk. He does like It's not emo, but he does like the undercut Macklemore swoop, and he's worn that for a long time. And he's got gauges, and he's got a few little tattoos on like his wrist and stuff. So stick a poke. So he's
Rocker's still kind of there.
He's rocker, but it's more like, and honestly, he's kind of like graduated in and out of different styles, and he's kind of got his own like thing that's a conglomerate. And I think that's when you get older, like you do kind of get your own style. It's like a hint of different things that you like, but not 100% on anything, you know. So he started to like mix things, but it hasn't been rocker per se. It's like, to say like cyberpunk is weird, but it's kind of that. I've heard the term e-boy.
I can
Have
see
you heard?
that.
Have you heard this term I don't think my brother's an e-boy. He's not. Have you heard of e-boy though?
Yeah, I've heard e-boy. I've heard of, what is it, cis girl or something like that?
I think e-boy is the modern day emo.
Really?
Yeah, Google e-boy right now, or e-girl.
And then there's also like this girl or something like that.
But I haven't seen these. I don't know if this is popular or if this is just a meme.
Well, I can see that because I've heard of it. E-boy. I should do it on Uber Dictionary and see what it says.
Yeah, not Uber Dictionary, Urban Dictionary.
Sorry.
Uber Dictionary. Oh, your fare is the money you'll pay.
So e-boy is apparently like a TikTok-based archetype.
Yeah,
And
but I
it's
mean, that's
based
what
off
it is
of emo
mostly.
style.
Okay, so that is emo.
Yeah, emo-inspired and extensive online presence.
I can't imagine that those guys aren't getting beat up still, though.
So I think it looks like one of the suggestions for e-girl is Billie Eilish.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, that's honestly, you look at pop stars, that's probably what is going on, realistically.
I'm trying to see what this one thing is. Visco Girl. That's what it is. That's another one, which is a Visco Girl. Well, that seems kind of harsh. I'm not going to read that one.
Yeah, that Uber Dictionary, it's a rough one.
It seemed a little racist. I didn't want it.
Yeah, we here at
Let's look for a different way.
Don't you know, don't be a racist. There, that's kind of topical too.
It looks like kind of like a girls who are like trendy and kind of like are fashionist and like to take photos and do editing on the photos.
Gotcha.
So so they have their own kind of little things. Visco Girl, and I think there was another one and I can't remember what it was. And then E-Boy are some of the bigger ones I've heard.
I feel like most of modern like style is gonna be influenced by like the internet kind of stuff. And so I feel like, honestly, if people are probably dressing like whatever Fortnite puts on their characters, you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff.
An example they say is also, which is a term I'm more familiar with, is like a Valley Girl.
Valley Girl's an old term, yeah. I can see that. Just real
That's
real
what
trendy.
the Visco Girl basically is a Valley Girl.
What's Visco? What does that mean? Like, where does that come from? Like, the valley is from, like, the California Valley, you know? Silicon Valley.
So, it says unlike, a Valley Girl, they're more about filters, though. Visco. Let's see what Visco stands for. We're having to deal. I feel super old having to Google all this stuff and just not know.
I know.
it.
This is a rough one for the old esteem here.
Well, that's odd. Okay, so Visco stands for Visual Supply Company.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. So yeah, so it's
the
like all those people who are like
there's
Instagram models. Yeah. Oh, it's my photography company, and they just do like yoga poses and get like 50,000 likes.
a big thing with Visco Girl too is the Hydroflax. Having the Hydroflax.
Hydroflax. What is that?
That's like the accessory. It's like that water bottle, almost like that metal kind of water bottle.
Oh, I
Look
got
it
a
up.
couple of those.
Hydroflax.
Oh yeah, I have the whole power of the internet here.
But they're very, like, that's their big thing, is having the Hydro Flask.
The modern day Nalgene. What are the prices on this?
I know they're crazy on the Hydro Flask. I don't have an Hydro Flask.
I don't like that.
They be
Hello,
making all that money
darkness,
for their
my old
Instagram.
friend. I'm really
I'm so
depressed
curious if there's
again.
anything else. That's all I know. Is if you
Joking.
guys know of any other terms for teenagers, let us know. All I know is the E-Boy and the Visco Girl.
This was an all-star episode. It's as good as our drawing. If you haven't seen our drawing, it was a doozy. And also, you can vote on our drawings if you haven't already.
Yeah, definitely. I typed in E-Boy and Visco Girl to see if anything else comes up. I put them both together to see if anything appears. And I apparently have broken Google because it doesn't want to search it.
All right, what about like, all right, teenagers go to prom, that's fun, don't you know? Don't like miss out on stuff. You're only a teenager, like, for a few years, you know? Life is long, but, you know,
Apparently, soft girl is another one. I don't know what that is, but that says it. It says e-girl, soft girl, and visco girl. I don't know what soft girl is.
I feel like
I'm almost afraid to look it up.
I feel like we're a few links away from some obscure pornography terms or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said I'm afraid to look that up.
I know, I'm spooked. What else? Travel if you can. Get along with your parents if you can. Even if they're wrong, try and get along with them. Just think, how can I change my behavior to appease my parents? No.
So, soft girl is apparently like the cutesy feminine look. Like, like heavy blush, heart patterns, stuff like that.
Okay. It's like your vanilla girl. They're the ones at Starbucks. Other coffee places are available, but we know where they're going.
I think this picture is a perfect example of the three. I'll send it to you.
I feel like guys, honestly, teenage guys are going to be the same. We're probably still wearing button-downs with shapes, or plaid, or just t-shirts with like a graphic design on it, and jeans. Possibly ripped, probably slimmer than back in the day. Okay. I see. So you got the standard girl, you got the tough, edgy girl, and then you got the like emo, edgy girl. And that's your trifecta.
So Vis girls also, I think, tend to be like athletes as well. Mm-hmm. And the scrunchy thing, I remember now, the scrunchy thing is also a really big thing with Visco girls.
Okay. I hate this picture.
You do? Why?
I just don't like it. It's too much tude for me. Ugh, I hope I have a son first.
I want a son first, and then a girl.
So you can bully the sister down a little. No, that's mean. I'm just joking. Don't bully.
No,
get along with your siblings too. Yeah, of course. You're still gonna bully her. No, I'm just joking.
Well, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done too. I'm trying to think of just random stuff to spit out, but it's all just gonna be platitudes and just everyone's been a teenager. I don't think it's that different. I mean, it's kind of weird today. We're in a lockdown or whatever. Well, I mean, like, my brother didn't get to, like, graduate on stage, you know? It was like a virtual graduation.
But for the most part, I think this episode was pretty good, actually. I felt like this kind of went a completely different direction than I thought it was going to go in, but I think for the most part it was pretty good.
Well, I mean, we started at the beginning. It said that we weren't going to have much relevant. This is us just learning about the whippersnappers.
Oh man, I feel so old from this episode.
I know, right?
I aged myself like 20 years. Okay, so thanks for listening to us, guys. If you're a teenager and you have some stuff to say, which I'm pretty sure you do.
If you facepalm during this podcast at all, write it in the comments.
You can comment on Podbean. You can send us a tweet at Don't You Know Pod, which I don't know. I feel like Twitter apparently is not that big anymore, so maybe you won't send it that way.
We need a TikTok.
You can send us an email. I feel like teenagers don't email. But you can send email at don'tyouknowpod@gmail.com. And if you're older, just because we said teenagers don't do it, don't feel discouraged. You can still email us too.
Yeah, wherever you are. If you're listening, Control-T, open up that new tab and tell us you hate us or something.
Oh!
No, don't do that. Be nice.
I'll send all hate mail to Jacob. I only keep the good mails for myself.
I'll print it out and use it for backside wiping. That's gross.
He'll put it on his background for his Don't You Know for next week.
Yeah, I will.
Next month.
I'll read it out in a silly voice.
Okay, so you can also share. We would appreciate it if you shared. Like, subscribe, follow, whichever. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.